नमस्कार। और्स की इस व्याख्यान श्रृंखला में आपका स्वागत है और आज एक ऐसे विषय पर हम चर्चा करने जा रहे हैं जिसकी जिज्ञासा आपको हमेशा रही होगी। विषय है, क्यों घबराते थे अंग्रेज नेताजी से? Why were the British so much scared of नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस? और उसके कारण है, see, he is the only congressman, the young congressman who was sent out of India in a prison after first was Lala Lajpat Rai to Mandle, second was
Tilak,
Bal Gangadhar
Tilak
to
and Subhas
Mandle,
Chandra.
and in the same jail in Mandle
Mandalay.
was Subhas Chandra.
No other Indian leader.
And when the jail commissioner of London visited Mandle jail, he said on Bose, he is one of the 6 dangerous men in India. Can you imagine that? That's what he said. And we have Dr. Pal with us. I have been introducing Dr. Pal to you in my couple of earlier videos also. A surgeon and who has devoted his time searching on Netaji. Dr. Pal, my opinion is that, and this opinion is based on evidences which I have collected. I normally don't give opinions. That why the British were so scared of Netaji? क्यों डरे हुए थे इतने नेताजी से?
Number one
was his resignation from the ICS.
of a person, of Indian politicians, if you think the most brilliant brains, academic career, much superior to Gandhi, much superior to Nehru. You see the academic careers, most brilliant person, and another brilliant persons were your Aurobindo, and academically much superior yours Tilak, Lajpat Rai, much superior to Gandhi, Nehru, and this Tilak, Lajpat Rai, and Subhas Chandra to the Mandalay jail, and the condition of the Mandalay jail, it was roofless, no roof.
So
Snakes can enter into the into the rooms. Snakes
see
open.
The interesting aspect
And beasts, small wolves
When
entering
they-
into the prison cells.
when they look at the the career aspect.
Rainwater entering into the cells.
Career aspect of Netaji, his actions against that European teacher in Presidency College,
Otten, Professor Otten.
where he gives up his career, educational career.
Yes.
He's ruined actually in a way if
He-
he's not taken back in the
He
university later on.
took the responsibility. Actually, he never beaten the Otten Sahib, but he was the leader of the movement. But he took the risk of his own career to save other students who really beat the. This is the leadership.
Then comes the second aspect in this identity.
And British never thought an ICS in these days will resign.
No, and not only resigning, his correspondence in relation to that. Okay, if you see, his father was saying that you join there and you come back home and then you resign. And he said, okay, no, even if I join it there, then my purpose is defeated. Because these are two opposite things, And if what I want to serve my motherland, I can't do it if I join the service. So this made the British much more cautious that here is a young man, a bright, brilliant brain,
And with plans.
Indian, who has plans to
Plans from before.
and serve his motherland. He comes out.
And he has got a sharp plans of steps of
No,
revolution.
and see the second aspect. The second aspect is his tenure in Calcutta Municipal Corporation.
Only few months.
No, but what he did there.
Yes.
You see, he changed the uniform to khadi.
Yes.
He stopped inviting European officers
Yes.
to their functions.
Functions.
He did pro-people policies
Yes.
for education, for milk for the children.
Milk and watering. Ganga water first used by him to clean the streets.
See.
Primary schools.
So these things.
Milk for the babies.
These things which he did.
Yes.
And I find them much more
Most innovative.
constructive works in that sense.
Yes, general
that
system.
They think that the money. So
Yes.
and obviously, thirdly, the third point comes is the family's support to the revolutionaries. Sarath was always taking
Behind the
aside
curtain.
cases of revolutionaries in that.
And one thing,
Sarath
you
Bose is
see,
a brother.
of his 20 years here in India from 20 to 41, of these 20 years, 12 years in jail, either in exile.
No, I'm coming step by step,
Yes.
brother. The other one I feel is the Calcutta session.
1928 Calcutta
28,
session.
where he organizes
First,
the
Bengal volunteers,
Bengal Congress.
a paramilitary force, marching in the street.
And you see the composition of this force. It has ex-retired soldiers.
Yes,
It has revolutionaries. It has youth.
yes. And your ladies, girls.
And women. First time
Girls,
this kind of
girls.
organization in modern India. And what dismays Gandhi, and they are afraid. And one more thing I like to point out to you before during this Lahore session next year. There's a very interesting.
He compelled Gandhi to bring up the issue of resolution of total independence.
No. Not only that. First his amendment in
Yes,
Calcutta.
Calcutta.
That allows the
Yes,
British.
yes.
The second thing, there is a very interesting intelligence report in the archives before during the Lahore session. And
Yes.
that intelligence person is writing, he is the man who can go for outside support to liberate India.
Yes.
He is the man to be watched. Now, what a perceptive analysis by that CID, must have been a sub-inspector or inspector, that he's saying he is the man who can go for armed assistance to get support for India's liberation, and he needs to be watched. This is interesting. Then again you see the other cause which I feel, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, his direct and open support to the revolutionaries. He goes and meets Bhagat Singh. In Lahore prison they are denied a meeting. Then he goes to the court. The judge says, well, I can allow you in the court. I can't allow you in the jail. That is not my jurisdiction. Then Jatin Das,
Yes.
martyrdom of 63 days of
Yes,
trial.
yes. In Lahore.
In Lahore in revolution.
His dead body was carried on his own body.
It is he who leads
Yes,
the procession.
he carried
Calcutta,
the dead body.
barefoot,
Yeah, barefoot.
does his rites,
Yes,
and brings those ashes
ashes in his own home.
and gives to his bhabi. These are sacred.
And one more,
And that makes me come to one conclusion.
and one very only one sentence. British is suspecting in all these violent movements.
Are connected.
Subhas Bose connected, but they are not getting any direct evidence.
No direct evidence. Even
No proof in the court.
Even the statesman and lose a
Yes.
court case also.
Also, you see, Paddy Douglas Barge, 3 white DMs of Midnapur, killed one after another, with declaration, with prior information that you will be killed, all by Bengal volunteers, and that Bengal volunteers is
Among
made by
that Congress volunteers group.
Subhas Bose.
That group.
But British could not have proofs in the court.
And if you see in that even when he is arrested in 30-31, those aspects related to that, again
Yes.
he is being thought of that he is linked with the Chittagong armory. raid
Yes.
And
Suspecting, but no proof in the hand.
No proof again, but they suspect. And that is you see, what I find is that the British wanted Bose either out of the country, or they wanted him in country, he should be in prison.
In prison.
That's what they did. And that
They
shows
did it.
You see, even in Mandalay, when they proposed that he can go for his treatment to Europe, and it's a very interesting correspondence and letters by
Yes.
Subhas to his brother and Bhabi and all, and even to these other leaders, that how the British are fools and what they are thinking and all, he refuses. And then when he's out, if you recall, twice the British tell him in Europe that if you go back to India, you will be arrested. His father's death.
Yes. He
When
came violating the orders.
Violating the orders.
Arrested on the port.
Kept on the dock. And even before that, you remember, when he's sent to Europe for treatment, the ambulance when he's taken out from these jails, that time he's kept in many jails, near Jabalpur also and other places.
Many places.
And the ambulance takes him right up to the docks.
Yes, without allowing
Anyone
the
to be
persons
there.
to meet.
And himself, Bose has written, that the police officers surrounded him like the dogs.
Yes.
Hound.
Yes.
Hound dogs, the word he has used for them in that sense. So twice this happened. And you see, the interesting part is that the same Bose now, he refused entry into England.
Yes.
Very first time when he goes for the Youth Congress, he's in absentia, his
speech was given.
Speech is given there.
Yeah.
Even that speech is banned in India.
Yes.
His book Indian Struggle is banned
Banned
in
in India.
Not to be brought out in India.
Yes.
Then you look at it, the same Bose, when he becomes the Congress president, elect, he goes to England. And that time they think
All heroes of England is meeting him.
And let us not forget another aspect in between here, that while in Europe, Bose had contacted practically every revolutionary of India, Ghadar party and all, and he had even gone to Ireland to meet Valera.
Not only
and many others you see over there.
not only revolutionaries, but also all the big leaders of all countries of the Europe, because future fire is coming, world war is coming in anticipation.
And at that time, only from 1933 onwards,
Yes.
he is even organizing the youth in Germany and Italy and these places.
Also contacting all possible
You
leaders.
see, even Abibur Rahman, he had met in, as you said,
In 1933,
1933.
is
Abibur
grooming him
Rahman,
from 1933.
studying in Germany at that
Germany.
time. Abid Hussain,
All
over there,
students there,
doing that.
grooming all those persons.
That's those people. So this is another thing. And then
And one thing, just one sentence. Not only British frightened, your Indian leaders are frightened.
that's what I was going to ask you. Now this explains that why the British conspired to see to it that he doesn't continue as
president of
Congress president.
Yes,
Again,
because
after Tripuri.
Yes.
And that came.
yes,
letter,
that disclosure is very important, because British knows if in this crisis of great war which is coming, if Bose is allowed to continue in the president of the Congress, means such a big organization in the hand of Subhas Bose, it's very risky for the British to tackle. Very risky. Before that, let us join together with Gandhi, Nehru to disposition.
And that's how that
yes.
intelligence report is sent to Gandhi.
Gandhi.
And let me tell you, my viewers,
Yes.
that now the
Yes.
cat is out of the bag.
Yes.
Why Gandhi opposed Bose in Tripuri was not just that he had love for Pattabi Sitaramaiya or he
No,
didn't want Bose
it was a
at all.
British plan.
It was a British plan.
Executed by Gandhi.
Wrote to him, showed him the file that he is in touch with Germans or he is in touch with Japanese and all, and that's how Gandhi started and opposed, declared it. And in spite of that, he was able to defeat Gandhi's candidate. And let me tell you,
Yes.
this is again most alarming for the British, because Gandhi has been a kind of a smoke screen for the British
Yes,
to check
yes.
revolutionary activities
Yes,
in this
yes,
country.
yes.
And Bose defeating Gandhi's candidate
Means
a
Whole
total change in the Congress
Yes, yes,
policy
yes.
with a person coming from that background of support to the revolutionary.
And before that-
so he must go.
and before that, planning commission has alarmed whole Gandhi groups.
That's the economic front. And
Yes,
industrial
not
front
only
of that.
planning.
Okay. Then you see, you come out of that.
One thing,
That-
and at that time, so much serious the Gandhi group. That time Bose is poisoned. For 1 month, Bose has a mysterious sickness.
Yeah, his condition is very bad.
Very bad.
It's taken on
Gandhi Rashtam, he was there. Someone poisoned him definitely. Here is an article by himself. My mysterious sickness.
And then you see that after Tripuri and resigning and when he forms the forward bloc,
Yes.
now all the radical elements in the country are joining the forward
Yes.
bloc.
Yes.
Whether it is the Kisan leaders like
All,
Saijan
all.
and Saraswati, Ranga, Yajnik, Jadurandan Sharma and all, and many others. And besides that, there is another very alarming aspect which we are discovering now. In fact, I must thank my scholars, Omar and Saqib, for doing that research, in which what is coming out is that in 1939-1940, he is meeting everyone, and particularly all those Muslim parties
Yes.
from Sindh and from Northwest Frontier Province who are opposing Jinnah, who are totally opposed to Jinnah, and these people help him. And we have that name that when that person from Sindh goes to Calcutta, Abdullah, he goes to Calcutta Gurdwara, and next day Bose goes and meets him in Gurdwara. And the Calcutta Gurdwara has a major role in Bose leaving Calcutta for
this Kabul,
ultimately,
yes,
with Master Tara Singh.
yes, this group
and this Akbar and all these people who helped him right up to not only Peshawar but Kabul also.
this team,
And
this from Northwest team.
And the other scare came, the way Bose fooled the British.
Yes, in his
leaving
escape.
Calcutta.
Because the news, there are two news. One set of news that Bose has escaped India via Southeast Asia, some mysterious ships is there in Sundarbans, and some persons there. Bose has gone through Istanbul, Iran. He is moving, and that's a whole intelligence and British force is engaged in two fronts.
The next step now comes in. Important is that the British came to know that through their agent Silver that he was in Kabul. The person who was double crossing at that time.
Yes.
Most probably Bhagat Ram Talwar's name comes in this regard. And now these British who talk of human rights today, who talk of war crimes, who talk of these things,
they passed this
they
order.
ordered their two agents, Polak and
Yes,
in Istanbul and Egypt,
Egypt.
that if
Wherever you found,
passes through these routes to Germany,
wherever you get, in any condition, shoot him, assassinate.
assassinate his plan.
That was the order.
Both documents are given in my book. Professor Alpine gave me these documents.
Professor of the Irish University.
Who gave me these documents.
Yes.
That they were so scared. They never tried to assassinate Gandhi or Nehru
Never.
or any other leader of the Congress. But for Bose, they made their assassination plans. It's other aspect that Bose failed. Then we find two records I have come across, which was always there and then had come out on the books, were the attempts on his life
in Eastern Front, yes,
in
Rangoon, twice.
Twice.
One if fake Raspberry came,
Lieutenant Mulkar has mentioned that.
fake Raspberry came.
Once someone came to the gate saying that he is Raj Bihari
Bose, yes.
From the car he came down.
And the guard suspected.
And the message was sent inside. And Bose was quite surprised because he said, yeah, I talked to him in the afternoon.
But the guards also suspected because.
And one guard there who had earlier served at Raj Bihari's house,
yes,
he came out to wish him. And the moment this fellow saw this fellow coming, he ran away in the car.
Yes.
The car could not be traced. The other attempt was that when the security of Netaji, the chief, he suspected something on the guards. So he made the guards fall in and he asked for the code words. And the two guards gave the same code words and they were immediately arrested. And they tried to open with the revolvers also.
But Subhas Chandra prevented them.
Overpowered and all. And then they confessed that they were asked to kill him and all.
But Subhas Chandra did not.
Both these attempts which were tried, obviously by the British. But look at it, both these descriptions at both times, Bose maintained his cool. Nothing has happened. He came.
He did not order the death sentence of these criminals.
So besides these things, we will discuss in another lecture the other things where Netaji escaped death.
Yes.
Whether it is Burma Front, Mount Popo, and other places where he escaped death. But this is very clear that why the British were scared of Bose to this extent that they even made his assassination plans much before even he had taken the armed struggle of INA. Just in Kabul only, why they wanted to keep him out of India makes him stand aloof from all other leaders in the country which we had during this freedom struggle after 1857. Thank you, Dada, very much for this.
Thank you.
And I hope we'll meet again soon in another lecture. Namaskar.
Thank you.